Good afternoon, traders. Closing bell on the 2nd of February in what was a very interesting session. I speak about patience, and you couldn't get a better example of it than today's session. And I'm going to just kind of get right to it. But as I go along, I want to emphasize um, that if you're going to adopt this methodology of trading, and it's not for everybody, this is really an advanced approach towards trading. It's not necessarily the right approach for everybody. The significance of my discussions about the pivots and the moving averages are presented to you merely for the reason that the probabilities of some reaction are higher from these locations. As to which direction, I can never tell you. That the market can only dictate that. And as a trader, you are going to have to make that discretionary decision. Just because I play it a certain way doesn't mean it's the right way. And I'll give you a perfect example of what I mean. So, today, first of all, you got to take a look at where we've come from. We have ran from 40, almost 4,000, and we didn't even see this breakdown because the market got to the MA. So let's just say 40.30, and we ran all the way up to 42 and change. That is a 200-point move in 2 days. It's going to pull back a little bit, but does not necessarily mean it's going to happen today. But let's take a look at today's session because it was confusing, and it was rather difficult in terms of which way do you want to play this. We gapped higher and we opened up. Let me see if I can get this to 8:30 so you can get an idea of how we played out. So, we gapped higher and we opened up maybe a little bit somewhere. We got it. I know we made a high early of 81. Yeah, we did, of 41.72. So, 72 was the early morning resistance, and then they rolled them and they made a low of 54. They didn't finish the gap fill, and there's still gap fill from 54 to 31. They stopped here. So, as a trader, you just have to react. Now, you can see what happened here. They rammed all the way back up to 72 and sold off one more time. And then this is where they just sucker you in. They roll them down again, like as if they're going to finish the gap, and they stopped again at 54. And look, they got this huge turn up right there. And it was choppy, and it kept going back and forth until they eventually got above 72, and off they went. Now, this is what I mean in terms of discretionary. When they get up into this area, I'm looking at it a little different than most traders. And, you know, as a trend trader, you just got to trade the facts. And the market's holding these price points, and I'm taking shorts up in here because I'm looking for this thing to maybe lose some momentum and start rolling again. It didn't. And, I made a little profit on some of my contracts, but, I keep moving my stops down because I know there's a possibility this thing's going to roll up on me. And lo and behold, it did. And you can see they just kept working the crowd, but it kept holding R1, and then there was another short opportunity right in here as well. But, they did a really good job of keeping you into this and saying, this thing is just, I've seen sessions like this and it just hangs on and it hangs on. And then, you know, they eventually make their way all the way up over 4,200. All right. And suddenly the tone of the market kind of changes and they're going to start taking money off the table. And here's a short opportunity. It was probably, I got a little late on this one. And I'm always looking for this to roll over because I just think this thing's a little overbought. And I could be dead wrong, as I was earlier at R1. So, like I said, it's discretionary on your part how you want to trade this and what it tells you at these locations. This is the middle of nowhere. It's just about 4,200. Market's just a giant. And you can just see all of a sudden they're starting to take chunks out of it. And before you know it, and they kind of hovered here a little bit, tried to kind of hold on, and then they tanked again and made their way back to R1. Now we're back to this area again. And then look what the market's trying to tell you again. Now we're struggling to get back above R1. And here we go again. They start to roll. It wasn't until right about here that a little panic kicked in, and it looks like they hit stops around 41.80. And they jammed them back down to about 70. And then it got a little choppy. They topped out here and they rolled. They kept chopping up between the low 70s and the mid upper 70s, and then once they took out 72 again, they rolled them. But the market stopped dead in its tracks again at 57, still leaving that gap. So there is some downside gap. Whether or not we get it in the next 2 days, I just don't know. But you can see how this thing started to play out in the afternoon, and it almost started to trade pretty similar to the morning session because look, we once again topped out at 72 and we had this huge sell off as if they were ready to smack it. And then it stopped again at around 61 and then it chopped around and then it was struggling with 72 and then it got above it and you can just see they were just fighting back. The buyers just came back. In fact, this spike low is 72 right there, right there. And then they eventually made their way to where they're at right now. In fact, they're rolling them over a little bit. They got, wow, I didn't even see this. Look at this spike high you just got. Boy, I mean, somebody's getting hurt right now. I mean, something popped. Maybe some earnings came out. They had double topped at 42.07, and look at where they're doing. They're rolling them. So there's not much you can do about this type of trade. It's a little late in the day. You kind of throw in a towel once they got back over R1. But, this is how the market tests your patience and kind of, you know, makes you wonder which direction you want to go and how to play it. And like I say, it's discretion on your part. And I hope you're getting some success from these opportunities or in these locations because I think it's a really great way to trade. I mean, there's a ton of movement in the market daily, and I just don't believe in taking a lot of trades. I just don't. I think it eats up your account. There's too many commissions. I think it's always important to find the best spots to make your trades and get the best possible returns on them. And that's why I said, I mean, I didn't do much today until they got to R1. I didn't see any opportunities to the buy side. I mean, they kind of stopped in the middle of nowhere at 55, and then they just took off. And I just had a hard time getting on board. And like I said, everybody trades differently. So if you're going to use this method of trading, you have to be patient, and you have to be consistently. You got to give it room to kind of work for you. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and I wish you all the success in the world in terms of your trading, if you're trading futures or you're trading stock. So, this is kind of today's trade in a nutshell, and we'll take a look at this maybe tomorrow morning and see how this thing plays out and whether or not, this market is topping out a little bit. And when we get some more digestive trade, back down into here, once again, the market is really jacked up. So, and I'm all about whether or not we're going to maintain and hold these upper highs. And right now, I mean, this was a huge breakout, and you can see the results of it, and everybody's jumping all over it. So, we're just going to see how legit this whole market is. So, good luck with your trading, everybody. Take care.